I think my hair is at its absolute best, which it should be, but it's not. You know what I mean? I got that thing that Miley Cyrus has got. Although that's not actually her fault, that's mean. But still, you know. Yeah, unfortunately my hair is, it's had a rough time as of late. We are on the 4th day during winter. Now, my hair has a very complex lore behind it. Once rejuvenated, it has a shelf life of 4 days in summer and 3 days in winter. I know, given all the sweat, you would have thought its shelf life would have been shorter in the summer, but no, it's the other way around. I think it's because winter carries a lot of farts on the breeze and that makes your hair dirty. Something like that. But it is winter and we are on the 4th day, I'm afraid. Yesterday you should have seen me. Majestic. Today, depressed. And the weirdest thing about my hair is that it looks its best on the last day of being clean. Can anybody else empathise with that? You know, it's like, I can feel the time, I feel it closing in. I'm like, oh, it needs to be cleaned. It really needs to be clean. But you know, sometimes I like to push it, really push it to the limits, push it to the edge, goddamn. So, how are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. You know, just moments before hitting record, I realised that TikTok reinstated my Nazi video, which makes me feel warm and gooey inside. When I say my Nazi video, I mean I was talking about a Nazi coin, and because it was from the time period, and it was made by that particular party. The whole point of the video was that Nazis are bad and that we were going to trap them with a pit. But oh no, the auto-flagging system of TikTok went dick flop on me. Now the video's back, but no one's seen it. TikTok's really weird. It's a lot like YouTube, actually. It's like, they give you like, the first half an hour they show your video to people, and then they never show it to anyone ever again. I know I should probably learn how the algorithm works, but I just want to enjoy making videos. I realise they're trying as hard as they can to take that pleasure away from people, given the fact that you literally have to churn this shit out like a sausage grinder just to make views. But you know, whatever, man. Speaking of which, I want to talk to you about patience today, as well as projects that I'm working on for the new year. I've been learning guitar recently, as a lot of you guys know, and I did make a video making fun of it. I can play the C chord now, you know. Don't you know? I can. The C chord, the E minor, and the D. That's right. Oh, and I can do E minor to C as well. I can. I can, you know, not very well, but the point is patience is a funny thing, because I look back at my life, you know, I'm 36 now and I'm learning the guitar now, despite the fact that when I was a younger man, I owned many guitars and I never ever learned. I think, you know, this is probably off the back of my previous video, which YouTube didn't show to anyone at all. The learning to learn video, or learning about it was something to do with learning anyway. I feel this is off the back of that because I feel like patience is something that I don't know. I for some reason I've just sort of gotten into. Not that it's something to get into, but you know what I mean. I've always been such a hasty person, and I always sort of rush from one end to another like a bull in a china shop. And there's many signs of that that's been fruitful, but there's also been signs of that that are not very fruitful, and I lost a lot of things in a massed haze of rashness. So it was really nice to actually, for whatever reason, finally be able to just digest the patience and to sit there doing the same thing over and over again every day, but recognizing those tiny little differences that do let you know that changes are happening and progress is being made. Because that short I uploaded, the C is for, where I was making a lady's genitals joke in that, about how difficult the C chord was. And that was like a couple of days ago, and I look at it and I can't even understand how I was doing that wrong now. Because I sit down and play the C chord now, just a couple of days later, It's absolutely nothing like how it's going wrong in that video. It's quite remarkable. But it makes me think about all the projects that I've been planning and that I've been talking about recently. I've talked to you guys about the Skeleton Party. I talked to you guys about Smoking Robots. And there's another one called Dungeons Ghost, which has also been brought into the fold. And, you know, it genuinely encouraged me to sit down and think about how this is going to be done and what's the best way to do it. It's one of those things where you've got to sort of respect your own intelligence, because I've been inside my own head dwelling on it for so long that I'm pretty reasonable when it comes. I know how to do the plan. I mean, for example, Skeleton Party was supposed to be a series, and I've toyed with it in a multitude of different ways as to how it would work. And instead, I've concluded that for next year, the aim, whether or not I'll be able to do it, I don't know. We're just going to see how it goes together. I'm going to do one episode for the entire year. That's all that's planned. And it's probably going to be, you know, longer than a normal episode of something. We're going to just write it off as a film. When I say a film, I don't mean like feature length, you know, but just like half an hour, 40 minutes. Just make a nice, solid episode. And go from there. And that's kind of interesting because from a writing perspective, it puts a completely different frame of mind on the project. Because when you're writing, you know, if you're writing a series, 6 episodes or something, there's things you don't have to worry about mentioning until later. And there's things that are maybe vital to the setup of the series that actually aren't that vital at all. So if you're going to produce a film about it, you think, oh, actually, I don't need to include that. Either way, it's put my mind in a sort of an interesting position, and as well the creation of it. It looks like it's going to be an actual animation with voice acting and stuff. Fortunately, I'm such a fan of like dull retro animation, I don't have to worry about anything too fancy. But also, I want to do the characters in 3D, and I want the sets to be made physically. I want to do, you know, like doll's house stuff and actual sculpting. I've finally ordered some clay. You know what? I've been trying to order air dry clay for weeks now, and it's only like a £5, but I mean, to be fair, it's like 15 quid because I want to order the tools with it as well. It's like every time I thought I had that 15 quid cleared up, something came to took it. You know, like an electric bill came. Well, it's usually the electric. They're like the chief muggers here in the UK right now. I've just ordered that, so I'll finally be able to do that. And you know, all these sort of things like that could be involved to make these different series. To me, they're gonna be what we're doing on this channel. So this channel won't necessarily be about the actual the actual finished projects themselves. It's just going to be more about the road to them, and you know, obviously I'll tell you when they're done so you can have a look at them. Like Skeleton Party, for example. Skeleton Party is a very macabre project. There's skulls and bones everywhere. There's literally a scene called The Road of Bones where there's a road made out of bones, you know, and so I'm going to sculpt all the bones. It's going to be good fun. Or I might be a cheeky little devil and find some kind of Halloween bag. You know, you get those, don't you? With little skulls and bones in them. Sprinkle that on a bunch of clay, smoosh it into the clay, brush it, and God, easy. Did that even make sense? And these won't be like how-to videos. They'll just be like video logs while I'm making stuff. But we've got that, we've got voice acting, because there's going to be a lot of voice acting on Skeleton Party. I will be playing a lady. At least I think I'm going to be playing a lady. I want to do a screen test, then I'm not going to do the voice. I'm going to do the voice for the screen test, and then I will evaluate with my infinite wisdom. Personally, I think it's going to be quite funny. Does it look like I'm looking at you when I look at the camera? Because I don't think it does. I think I have to look at me. And that I spent years of my life, back when I used a Panasonic camera, the old DV tape camera here on YouTube, I spent ages trying not to stare at myself like some kind of vaniac. And now, if I actually look at the camera, it doesn't look like I'm looking at you, does it? Because I think they program it to make it, or I don't know, it's something. Technology. They do something with technology so that when you're looking at the screen, you actually do look like you're talking to the person, you know? Whilst if you look at the camera, it looks like I severely undervalue your company. Yes. No, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Oh no, do go on. Yes. Has anyone ever talked to you like that? With that look in their eyes? You might want to think about how you talk to people. So a brief rundown about Dungeons Ghost, what that's up to, well, what it is first of all. Dungeons Ghost is a tabletop game that is designed in such a way that it can be played in multiple different ways. You can play it as an army game, you can play it as a warband game, you can play it as roleplay. There are 27 nations in total, each with about 4 to 5 different factions within each nation, and the aim for next year is to get one nation out. So that'd be one book of Dungeons Ghost. I'll tell you more about it when we actually get down to doing some stuff, but that's quite macabre as well. I'm starting to see a theme here. And then there's the comic strips for Smoking Robots. So I decided I feel like there is going to be 12 of those in the coming year. That's what I'm planning by year now. That's how it goes. I feel like there's going to be 12 of them, which will be one a month. When I call them comic strips, they're probably going to be about 4 pages each, because there's some strips that are just longer than 1 page would be. And so I think, well, it just makes sense to be a couple of pages, you know. This one is not so macabre. It's about a family. The dad is a member of a band. It's set here in my town of Hastings, which means I get to talk about the things I love about Hastings as well as take the piss out of things I don't like about Hastings. Like that sculpture in Alexandra Park. Google it if you want. I hate it. I physically hate it, and I will make fun of it in various scripts. But I'm going to be so interested in seeing how that's received, because as well there's a lot about the subject of disabilities in the series, because each member of the family seemingly has a disability, and we make comedy about it. But to me, there's an art. You know what? I was going to do a whole video about this. I don't know, if someone seconds it in the comments, it'll remind me to talk about it again. But there's a concept I call balancing the equities, which really does allow you to make fun of absolutely anyone or anything, so long as you balance the equities. Here's a really good example of something that's pissing me off a lot right now. On Facebook, I belong to various Frasier groups, because I have a brain. However, many people in these groups do not have a brain, and they are posting pictures of particularly underweight women and saying, "This is Maris." Now, if you don't know, Maris was the partner of Niles in the show Frasier. She was his wife for the earlier seasons. She was a non-appearing character. She was always depicted. They would talk about how slim she was, how skinny she was, to the point of it being cartoonish. You know, like a breeze would sweep her away, sort of thing. But the balance of the equities there is that you never see her. That protects not only the characters talking about her, but her as well. Because as well, you've got Niles, who sympathises. He refers to her as a poor little thing. And that's also to his self-deprecation, because he gets pushed around by her quite a lot. Now, if Maris appears on screen, and you are watching an underweight woman being berated by 3 full-grown men, suddenly you don't find those 3 full-grown men very sympathetic, and which is unfortunate, because one of them is supposed to be literally the main character of the entire show. I constantly think about things like this, and that's where I conjured the phrase balancing of the equities. It's like the yin-yang thing, you know, like you can go for anything, but you always got to balance it. Otherwise, it's cruel and nasty. For me, it's in absolutely everything. It includes what you bless a character with what you burden a character with. Like if you write a story about a rich man, people aren't going to be able to invest in that as much, because he's a rich man and everything goes easy for him. So you have to kind of chuck a bunch of crap at him to keep him humbled so that people can actually connect with him, you know? I always say like the biggest, you know, people do that thing of like, are women funny and stuff like that. I think they absolutely are, but the problem is mostly spineless people write for them, so they don't take any bumps, so no men or women can relate to them. Pain, suffering, foolishness, idiocy is something we can all relate to because we all go through it. If you've got a character that never portrays any pain, never shows any foolishness, is in control, gets the best lines, the nastiest quips, all the rest of it, no one likes that. It's horrible. You just look at your own life and you go, what the fuck? Whilst you turn on the TV and you look at someone like Homer Simpson and you go, yes, I am like this sometimes. Anyway, we're going to leave it there because, like I said, it's a whole other video. But my point is, that's the kind of thinking that I'm taking with Smoking Robots. And it's, like I said, it's interesting writing comedy about disabilities where the aim is to get the disability over while at the same time making fun of it. I don't know why, but just that balance, it's one of the things I'm more passionate about than anything in my life. And I've never quite known why, but maybe it's just, I don't know. I like TV, so I've gravitated towards it for whatever reason. But yes, sorry this video was just a bit of a blurge fart, but there was a lot of things building up at the back of my brain. It was going to come out one way or another. I hope you guys are very, very well, and we will get down some crafts and art or whatever it is very, very soon. See you later. Oh, Happy New Year when it comes. It's a few days. Just pause this video and hit play as the ball drops on the 1st. You pause it now and then hit play again when we cross out right. Happy New Year. And I'll see you next time. Do I look there or do I look there? Stupid.